Welcome to the Afters. Uncut bonus content for our best friends behind the paywall. What?
His dad was Jamaican.
Oh. This week we're fucking around and getting silly with Jimmy and Larry after a long one, hour and a half or so, with Ian, Isaiah, talking music, enlightened straits, everything, whatever. If you listen to this, you listen to that.
Presumably. What's up?
Yo, smell that? It's leather weather.
Oh, sure.
Crisp 52 degrees here in New York.
We both wore leather jackets.
Yeah, exactly. Let's get into it. Let's do a fit check. You go first.
All right. Leather jacket was NN07. It's an older style. I don't think they make it anymore, but we'll find something comparable for the rec center, as we always do. On the feet, I have the new ALD New Balance. I believe it's the RC56. They designed the silhouette. And
this is brand new?
They created this.
Okay.
It is kind of like...
Big ALD guy.
Yeah, it's kind of like a racquetball, it looks like a tennis shoe. Does this not look like a fucking tennis shoe? I like it. I'm a fan.
Maybe.
Shout out.
I'm not saying me. I'm not going male on the shoe. I'm going maybe on a sneaker. I don't know what a tennis sneaker looks like.
What do you mean? You play tennis in tennis sneakers? No.
Look. Tennis is one of those sports where it's like you can be really into the gear and you can like be such a fucking nerd about your string tension. You know, putting like tungsten lead on the edge of your racket to give you some more like whip. Seriously.
People do that?
Yeah.
Tungsten. That's like the super heavy.
Yeah, it's like a small little strip of sticker.
Just to give you some heft.
People get so nerdy about like balls, paws, and like shoes especially. Whatever I get for free is what I'm fucking wearing.
If it's for free, it's for me, as James will say.
Exactly.
Yeah. Anyway, I like these. I don't really think there's anything else like it on the market, which I believe is the point. The socks are, I don't know, fucking maybe old John Elliott socks. I think he makes socks. The fatigues are my favorite Jean Erica fatigues. Spring staple. The beater is Hanes. The polo with the silk blend, Cobra SC. The hat is Colbo. The draws are Supreme Hanes, rolling on the wrist, wearing on the fingy, waving on the pinky, chrome on the other hand. James, what leather?
So you're not wearing a single black owned brand?
Are you?
After Ian Isaiah.
Yeah, are you? I'm actually in head to toe Telfar, dude. I just wanted to seem like an unenlightened straight.
Not a single black owned brand in sight, especially after podcasting with Ian Isaiah. No, I'm wearing, I don't know. The Finnish guys at Tarvas might be black. I don't know.
Yeah. Highly unlikely.
Yeah. Tarvas X Haven. I don't know if there's any black people in Finland. I mean, I'm sure there are, but not like,
Probably not.
Well,
black Finns.
Sounds like a slur. The socks are socks by our guy Nagy. The jeans are Trebien by some white Swedish Malmomies. The shirt is picked up at Duke's Cupboard.
White owned.
White owned. I guess if I'm going to do that to you, got to do to me. Moroccan bracelet.
Yeah, but did you see the artisan? It was given to you as a gift. You don't know who made that in Morocco.
That's true. Wait, the shirt though, real quick. The shirt is this is fucking hits right here. You understand? This was the Stussy shirt that got Sean Stussy a cease and desist from Louis.
It is way less ugly in person than how you've described it before. It's way more faded and toned down in person. It's a choice, but definitely not, I think, as egregious as maybe myself and the audience have, pictured it in their mind when you've talked about it in the past.
Oh, wow. This only is from the 90s. I thought it was from the 80s. No, the shit is ugly as fuck. I don't know what you're talking about. But it's
a tan shirt.
It's pretty hideous. I mean, it has like the Louis or the fake Louis fucking monogram.
Are you going to like some occasion later where you're like, I need a hideous shirt today?
No, I was just like, I just,
today's the day.
I just don't want to, I didn't want to think about like, I was like, let me just throw on this fucking ugly shirt.
This is the maiden voyage though, straight up, right? First time you wore it out the crib?
Yeah, I popped the Duke's tag off it.
Was that expensive? Because it is still like a piece of history from the 90s, even if you were wrong on the decade.
I'm trying to think of how much quid I dropped on this.
How much P, man?
I want to say like 180 maybe.
That seems
maybe
fair.
200 quid.
Okay.
But again, this is history right here. You understand?
When you bought it though, you were like, I'm buying this ugly piece of history.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I did not buy this because it's like a beautiful shirt.
It's not like you're going to be framed and like displayed in your crib.
No, it's like a fucking dried snot colorway. I mean, it doesn't like work on my skin tone necessarily. It's a short sleeve button down. Like it's fucking crazy.
Yeah.
It doesn't. I don't know if it fits me that great. I don't know. It's a little like not snug, but it's definitely like a short.
Nah, that's like what is it? A size medium?
I think so. 90s medium.
Which would only you would think be bigger than a 2025 medium, no?
Maybe it's I don't know, what is it? Can you see?
Let's see here. It's a medium. That's an M. That's an M.
Medium. It's got the button down on the back of the collar.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah. So
Third button, baby.
piece of shit, ugly piece of history right here. You understand?
Mm.
The hat is small talk.
White owned.
Nick is.
That's right, Nick
I
might-
don't believe he's white.
Yeah. What do we got in the mix there?
I don't know. Do you really want to talk race this much?
You're the one who
Second layer, Mexican American owned. Second layer jacket. Yo, this jacket. I don't know if you see.
Chicanos.
Fuck. I wish I'd worn this in the fit pick. It's like a nice, beautiful like chocolate cocoa brown. It's like a crop blazer. It's kind of crazy.
Yeah, it's like it's a cropped blazer adjacent leather jacket.
Yeah. And the sleeves are a little too long, but I think that's like the vibe.
Is that what they call it? The Mad Dog?
I don't think that's a Mad Dog.
Oh no.
The Mad Dog is what we have. Or what we both have. The Blason.
Really? I thought that
believe
was
so.
I don't know. Also, product names. We never really talk about this, and like we make product and we name it. For me, it shouldn't be an afterthought because you got to put thought into everything. Like you never know what's going to connect to the consumer, but like all the stuff that I own and love, like okay, I need to know the name for maybe calling it out on the pod as like the serviceable one of the serviceable elements of our show, but it really doesn't matter to me at all. Hence why I could not tell you the name.
I disagree only for self-reference, where you're like, you know what? I really like Our Legacy initial shirts, right? So if they
you can't tell by looking at it. I guess the fit. A shirt is hard. Shirts a lot.
It's fit.
Yeah, shirts are different.
It's fit. Like a borrowed shirt, right? At Our
Yes,
Legacy is like
big fit.
super oversized,
Mhm.
and you have to know that. Like the initial shirt is like, I love the way they fit, and I know that in the initial shirt, I'm a 46.
Shirts might be the exception to this rule, but like if this jacket came out another colorway and like you know your size and you know the fit, like it doesn't matter what the name is because you can pretty much ID this straight by looks. That's just I guess my only point.
Okay.
Anyway.
But I think that and we are, I believe, are running into situations where like we need to start naming our products beyond just like describing what they are.
We didn't
Work
originally.
shirt.
We didn't. Well, right. And then it's like, you know, qualifying the name based on like the fabric, pinstripe work shirt. You know, yeah. What were you gonna call that? Like the Dilbert? Like what?
Maybe. No, but like Stussy does like like the beach pant.
But they have so many more SKUs.
But okay, but I think it's there's value in like having product names.
Okay.
I do think that people go overboard in like being fucking cute with it,
Mm-hmm.
where it's like, oh, like, you know, this is the fucking.
It is called the Mad Dog. I was correct. Mad Dog.
That's not it.
Yes, it is, dude. So maybe James does need the names because this. Oh no, it's
That
you know
is-
what
That is not it,
it's not. What?
bro. It's not it.
Okay,
I promise you.
All right. Well, good luck.
Look at the lapel.
Yeah, I think it's because just how it's like folded, but whatever. Anyway, moving on. Mad Dog.
No, because there's no button on the lapel. It is not the Mad Dog.
Gotcha,
it is
gotcha,
some
gotcha.
other shit
Gotcha,
that you ain't
gotcha,
even
gotcha.
heard. You can't even pronounce it because we don't know what the name is. The boxers are Hanes. The bracelets are Bottega, and a gift from Morocco, a country in Africa. And I'm sipping on a clean canteen of Lorset's finest, and the sunglasses are Bottega. All right, Lawrence, what are we talking about?
We are going to talk about. Well, you want to talk about tipping policy here on
Okay.
the show because you witnessed an egregious act of bad tipping earlier today.
Yo, I witnessed a tip where it's like, and I think the baristas would rather have like gotten no tip than getting a 25-cent tip on a guy getting a macchiato with almond milk.
Is that a quarter like bing? Don't spend it all in one place type thing.
No, it's like you get the 10, 15, 20, right, on the iPad.
Mm-hmm.
He forewent just hitting any of those three.
Sure.
Went to custom tip and went 0.25
Woo.
enter. And I'm like, yo, the amount of buttons you hit is like 10x what they could have been to just tip like 72 cents more.
his button hitting made it very clear that he didn't mess up when he was trying to do 250.
No.
He threw that right to the decimal, dude.
Yeah.
Hit that shit with like he was about to break the screen.
And okay, I think, tipping, there's a whole like media fucking frenzy around tipping. And I think it's worth, revisiting the Throwing Fits official tipping policy. Here's what I do. And this is opening ourselves up to crazy criticism right now.
To coffee? Like, because I tip differently on coffee, service, and then Ubers is where I always run into trouble.
Here's what I do with coffee. All right.
Mm-hmm.
If you're pouring me a coffee, if I'm buying beans from your coffee shop, I'm not tipping. All right. I brought the beans to you. You rang me up. I'm walking out with
yeah,
beans.
for sure. Obviously.
If you poured me a coffee,
it'll be like tipping at the grocery store.
Exactly. If you pour me a coffee, I'm tipping custom tip $1, which is sometimes less than, well, not 10%.
Where are you getting your cheap ass coffee, dog?
I'm getting my fire light roast coffee from Cafe Vita over here on Ludlow.
Yeah.
I'm making coffee at home, but I'm trying to think of like it gives you 10, 15, 20. And sometimes it's like whatever's less than $1, then it's a little more than $1. And I'll go through the custom tip steps to just tip $1.
Yeah.
If you're pouring a coffee, if you're making an espresso drink, then you're getting 20%.
Okay.
But I don't order that because I think that's fucking frivolous.
Okay. Because my coffee order is always the same. So it's Doppio, double espresso. Unless it's the holiday. If it's not the holidays and I'm not at Starbucks to get my seasonal treat of a peppermint mocha, I'm getting a double espresso.
You really get those?
I love them, dude. Well, and only if I happen to, I'm not going to Starbucks. If I find myself during the holidays when they have the special holiday menu and there's a Starbucks within my general vicinity,
sure,
I'll get it.
Your inner white girl starts kicking and screaming.
For sure. But when I get my double espresso, and maybe this is where you and I differ, you're getting $1 on the Doppio.
Okay.
You're getting $1.
They're just pulling the shot.
They're
tamping it down.
I understand. I'm just saying you're not getting 20. Well, also like with 20% would be the $1's better than 20%.
How much is your Doppio espresso?
I mean, what is a double espresso is going to be like in New York, $2.50?
What? Where are you getting your coffee? $2.50.
Clementine Bakery. Maybe it's more.
It is way more.
Is it $5 for a double espresso? Also, like mainly I'm drinking coffee for my Nespresso at home. I'm getting crazy with the pods. Paid on delivery POD, dude. But yeah. No, maybe I'm freaking out about the price. Maybe I'm wrong. Not freaking out. Maybe I'm underestimating how much it is. I don't know.
At Clementine Bakery, the only macchiato is the cheapest. It's $2.75, but that's like with milk. So, and then a double is probably like, call it fucking $5.
Yeah, maybe it's like maybe it's $3.50-ish.
No way.
Somewhere in there.
Ain't no way.
Yeah. Again, I'm not buying a lot of coffees out and about on the street. You know me, Celsius guy for the most part.
What milk you fuck? Oh, you don't fuck with milk?
Not sometimes.
Ironically.
Yeah, for the most part, I want to just guzzle that shot and keep it pushing, dude.
All right, let's go to restaurants. What are you tipping on restaurants?
20% minimum. That's where we start. Yeah. So if it's like there was a little treat from the server, if the service was incredible, 20 is the fucking basement. And also with the 20, I'm like rounding up to just make the bill, better. So it's probably going to be
like at a 69 at the end. It's like, yo, if it's 109, I'm tipping $60.
If I was like, if it like, for example, if I like did the math on the tip and it came out to, I don't know, like a 195 or something, we're bumping that up to 200.
Because it really is, I mean, not to get fucking woke and shit, but like it is, these people's livelihoods.
Yeah.
They live off tip, which is not fair. Like they should be paid a living wage. Whether you're pulling shots behind the counter or as a server or as a line cook or whatever. All right. Yeah. Easy. Start at 20 and go from there.
And check this out, right? And maybe now I am freaking out and being crazy. I feel like I only get great service for the most part. I don't know, dude. I feel like
such a charming and kind and generous customer.
Maybe that's the beautiful thing about me that we're not going to talk about on this afters, but I don't know, dude. I always am very impressed and I'm going to tip accordingly. I don't know. You think you get bad service?
No, I think service is something if people take pride in it.
Yeah.
Also, I think that you and I are probably frequenting restaurants that are like, people are like, oh yeah, like I'm a server.
Or like we go to places where like either you're like a regular or like it's like somehow, you have a relationship to the place. And this is not a flex. I'm just saying like, yeah, I'm going to tip really great. Like if it's a spot where like I know someone who works there or like, not even the owner. But,
and this is going to sound incredibly snobbish, but it's like an extra $5 coming from you, the customer, like what does that do for you in the long run? Ultimately nothing, but
couple coffees.
But for the couple tips for the server, like an extra $5, from, the fucking 4 tables, they do that.
Adds up.
Serve that night. That fucking adds up.
100%. But I just feel like people talk about New York where it's like, I don't know. It's like, oh,
I hate people that cheap out on tipping.
Well, for sure.
Like if you cheap out on tipping or if you complain about tipping, you smells like fucking broke.
I'm saying I hear people complain about service and I'm like, it's a you problem, honestly. And listen, there's exceptions to every rule and there are servers that are definitely fucking assholes. And also it's a hard job. So like, I get it if like they don't want to fucking deal with
you're not allowed to complain about service since you yourself have worked in service, which I spent 1 summer as a bar back and 1 day as a busboy before I quit. And that shit fucking is hard. There's no such thing as unskilled labor.
With the Ubers, which is something that
here we go.
So I never tipped on Ubers, and then you made me feel self-conscious, which I'm not saying was a wrong thing. Like that was probably
you're like, thing. Wait, what? There's a tipping option?
No, I knew when they added it, but like, so like, what should you tip on an Uber? $10? I do it now because I was shamed, as I rightfully should have.
You're shamed into correct behavior.
Yeah, which bullying does work.
Bullying works.
No, what do you tip on a typical Uber ride? 10 bones, straight flat?
No. It depends. Also, I think that Uber, I don't know what the tipping policies are. If the whole tip goes to the driver, unlike the heroic DoorDash.
I have no idea.
But growing up in New York, you'd like kind of do the thing where you just like round up to if you have like a $10 bill, if it's like $6 or $9, like here, keep the change.
Right.
If it's like, $13 or $18, you hand them a 20 and you're either like, you ask for $5 back or you just like keep the change. But also like that was when I was a kid when like I needed the money. I wasn't able to just like throw
a few
extra bucks.
Yeah.
Now it depends on the length of the ride. It depends on
what's the airport ride tip then? Is that like $20?
Honestly.
And that's usually on TF if it's a business trip. So at that point, fucking let it fucking go.
I'll just do the percentage.
Okay.
I think they do 10, 15, 20. I think I just do 15 if it's a really long one. And then on $100 ride, that's $15.
10, 15, 20 is like an interesting way because with the presets, I know that's become like the subject of a lot of memes discussions, but maxing out at 20 where it's the one click is actually, that seems low to me.
It depends on the performance of the driver. If they fucking sucked and they're like stopping at a yellow, or if they're like driving crazy in a bad way, or like stop and start, or if they like, if their fucking car smells like cigs and they're like
on the phone
and they're blasting trouble music, and they're like watching like YouTube videos, like
watching Pornhub.
But you know what? I'll still tip like 15, or I guess 15%. I don't know. It depends.
It's crazy because I always would tip. I knew from coming to the city at a young age, you tip the cabbie for sure. Where you just basically, it's like, whatever, you're giving them a bill, keep the change type thing, make them whole. But it's weird how that didn't carry over for Uber. I definitely was taking Uber. I was taking Uber for a ride, but the drivers for a ride, despite them taking me for a ride. And I have since corrected that. And I do want to apologize to any Uber drivers that listen to the show. There
might be a lot of them, right? They're driving around all day.
I mean, listen, it was disrespectful of me, and I'm happy that I was correctly bullied / shamed into correcting my behavior.
All right, let's talk about the most important pillars of society: bartenders. What are you tipping on you get a bottle of Bud? What are you tipping?
Dude, if I'm drunk, I'm going crazy with the tip. They're getting hooked the fuck up, which is something I realized the last time I was out, and I'm like just fucking signing huge fucking bills. Yeah, I don't know. Jenna corrected that behavior there, where the one coming from like college bars and like cheap, shitty dive bars in the South, the idea of like one tip for a drink. Even
like $1 per drink.
Yeah, $1 per drink is like, and I'm even on a beer. I quickly matured there. For me, I'm closing out the tab, and I'm trying to think. It's going to be at least probably like
you're not a tab keeper opener though. You close out every round.
That was behavior that was corrected as well. But I was bad with that. Right, that changed. It's been changed for a while now, maybe like a good year.
Okay.
No, I mean, it is crazy that I was that guy for like until I was at least 35.
I don't know if I ever said anything, but I was like, this fucking guy.
Well, yeah, it's a way to keep the animal in the cage a bit.
Is it?
I mean, it never worked, but
no.
I'm gonna typically
because I'm like, yo, you're not gonna get like that's annoying, and then you're like gonna fuck up your own service, by being like
no for sure. And I now know because Jenna, as a bartender, she was like, yo, bartenders fucking Hate that. Stop doing that.
Though, you know where it is sick is in Europe where they have the little machine and like here, just like you pay for one drink at a time.
Yeah, for sure.
And you tip on it. You tip on every
I'm
round.
trying to think like, okay, if I went out and I had like a Bloody Mary, what is that? That's how much is a Bloody Mary? $9.
Where are you getting your Bloody Marys?
Just like the local fucking
bodega?
My local, dude. Okay, how much is a Bloody Mary? How much could a Bloody Mary cost?
I would say like $15.
All right, 15
in New York.
And then let's throw on 3 beers after that.
Okay.
So how much is a Guinness?
I don't know. I don't drink Guinness.
How much is a beer these days? $8, $9?
How do you not know? Draft, can, bottle.
Oh,
Is it something
draft.
nice?
All right, so let's say the bar tab
Is it from like Maine?
Yo, and honestly, okay, if I'm running up a $50 bar tab, that's easy. You're just throwing 10 on that, 20%. Throwing a tenner on top of that. What about what are you doing? You don't even really drink. You're like more of a get a bottle of wine type guy.
What?
Yeah.
I'm definitely at least 20%, if not more. I guess it's more like, do you do like $1, like if you have cash, which I guess no one does anymore.
Never.
Do $1 a beer. And I used to do like $1 a beer, $1 a cocktail, or $2 per cocktail.
Mm-hmm.
Now it's got to be, you treat it like food, right? 20%.
Yeah, I think you have to. I think that's, I feel like if you don't do that, that's a place where you're never going to ever establish any type of relationship and make any inroads into becoming a regular if you don't treat the bar like a restaurant in that regard.
You know where I started tipping, where I feel like people don't fucking tip, which is bullshit, is at the butcher and the fishmonger.
Yeah, that could never be me.
Why not?
Because I don't cook.
Oh, right.
So I'm not even going to be a patron of those spots. So what do you tip on that? $1 per fish?
Honestly, yeah. If I'm getting like just a salmon fillet and they take out the pin bones, it's $1.
But it's like, but wouldn't you just tip on? Yeah, I don't know how. Yeah, I don't know how you would tip.
It's
at the butcher.
different than like bringing something to the counter. They're like
doing
putting
manual
in work.
labor.
They're also like, I want them to give me the best cut of fish. You know what I mean? Like, I'm seeing this guy a few times a week.
I think if it's a place where you are establishing your presence as a regular, you really got to be self-conscious of how you're tipping these people.
If they're manipulating anything, if they are like, cutting a steak to your specifications, if they are like, separating the drumstick from the thigh, right? Yeah.
How often are you at the butcher?
Once or twice a week. Cause like, I'm only buying like 1 or 2 meals at a time.
Okay. Yeah.
I'm not
right.
buying a week's worth of food like a fucking Costco church lady
prepping.
like Ian Isaiah was talking about or whatever.
Okay. I mean, shit, I'll leave the fishmongering and the butchering.
Damn, speaking of fish, there's a moment at the beginning of the pod where I was a little like, oh, fuck.
So
did I just fuck up?
I was completely lost on fish faces.
Well, we were talking like,
but
he's like, I eat fish, but I'm gay. And I'm like, because fish means pussy, right?
Yeah.
Which has a negative connotation of like, or can, but I think it's a pretty straightforward 1 for 1. Like, oh, he likes fish.
I thought he was saying like, I thought he said you can't say fish face. I'm like, what is fish face?
Well, then I think he's like, oh, because you're saying that like vaginas stink, which like all vagina, there's no such thing as a stinky vagina.
They
all smell amazing.
In our experience.
No, I'm saying like, okay, maybe they have different types of smells. Smell is a spectrum. All smells are beautiful.
Yeah.
All fish smells are beautiful.
It's not like you're on the pod being like, damn, that pussy stank. Like,
but there's a moment where I was like, oh, fuck, let me pipe down a little bit.
What a guy.
Early on in the
legend.
podcast. And then,
Is his age out there? Is that like public? Like, can you Google that? Because I don't
know.
He told us he asked how old we were when I was explaining the concept of Zin to him, which is always my favorite thing. Normally would happen with a guest that is gay who has no idea what Zin is. But like, he asked our age and then he told us his age. He's been such a fixture and someone that when we were no one, like when we're going back to 2011 and the ghetto gothic like heyday and all that stuff, like he called himself a myth in a kind of like a self-deprecating way, which is actually fucking fire. But like, he's been such a legend to me that I was like, oh shit, we are older than this man. Yeah. Categorically, scientifically, we are older than Ian Isaiah. But I didn't know if you could Google that or not.
It's like, it's kind of like when you're watching sports and you realize that the athletes are younger than you. It's like, wait, bro, the fashion designer from fucking 15 years ago that was at the tip of the Hood by Air movement is younger than me. That's crazy.
So you can Google his age and you get So he's
about our age.
But we're older. It's crazy.
Yeah.
That's crazy to me. What a fucking guy. What a fun pod.
Yeah. It's nice to, it's a little like fucking the big boss, Tony Soprano once said, remember when is the lowest form of conversation. But it was really nice to take a trip down memory lane and talk about Hood by Air,
But that Remember When was formative to so much of, like he said, that we talk about
right now.
about today.
Right now,
So it is important to know where we came from.
That first Hood by Air show at Milk Studios. I remember I was coming from a wedding in Princeton, New Jersey. I was running mad late. I think I was hungover. It was definitely a Sunday during Fashion Week. Matthew Henson, the GOAT, was kind enough to allow me to sit next to him front row. I mean, to like secure me a seat.
Did you not? That's weird that I would have had because I got a front row seat. I don't know, maybe, but that's
What?
great.
No, you didn't, because you're sitting behind Virgil.
What do you mean? Do you remember
There's
this?
photos of you sitting behind Virgil.
Really?
Yeah.
At the first Hood by Air show? Shit.
Where Rocky walked, where
Yeah.
Boy Girl. Remember Boy Girl?
I don't know.
Like the shaved head, kind of like gender fluid Asian-y person who had like a crazy throat tattoo. It said like slut or something.
I don't know. I guess
Maybe the name was Boy Slut.
Maybe.
I think it's Boy Girl.
I guess I was sitting behind Virgil. That's fucking cool. I mean, if you're gonna sit behind anyone, RIP to the God. All I remember, and this is, I hate doing the thing where like I'm just centering myself, but I have never felt more excited to be somewhere, but more like
Boy child.
Oh, right. But just being like this joke or that we'll make about taking up queer spaces, which is not a joke because it is like a thing, though we found ourselves on the wrong end of that a few times. We get to make fun of it and lampoon ourselves. Yeah, I remember that.
Boy child is fucking sick.
They were crazy. But like this idea of occupying queer spaces and it becoming like a little bit of a bit, whether or not that's in good taste, I'll leave it up to you. But in that moment, just being like, yo, I am a fish out of water. I don't even remember what I was wearing, but it definitely was not fucking on par with what should have probably been worn. I don't know if you remember what you wore to the HBO show, but I was probably in some menswear bullshit being like, they're like, what is this fucking security guard doing sitting down behind Virgil Abloh?
I think you were wearing a John Elliott side zip hoodie and Vism FBTs, or maybe Virgil was at that point. I forget. I don't know.
I wonder what year would have this been? This is the first HBO show, right? Like at New York Fashion Week.
The first Hood by Air show on the Fashion Week calendar.
Right.
They've been doing shows in like off calendar in like, venues that in like neighborhoods of Brooklyn that we don't even fucking know about.
Yeah. That's a sick invite though, that we both were lucky because outside of like Louis or like, when we've been to Paris and we've gotten to go to some cool shows, like, for the most part, I feel like our fashion show going in New York was like, pretty limited, but like that was a fucking moment in time, dude. And I think it is really cool. I mean, that was the thing that I wanted to get on the Runner show was like the fact that Cardi and like a whole new generation of these opium fucking, obsessed kids. It's like Grail level shit. It's like, I don't know, being treated maybe even like in a realm above or at least monetarily more than like a RAF or some of that Rick stuff. And to me, it's like, it's crazy that it's happening and it's fucking awesome. He didn't really seem to have that many opinions on that besides like, oh, my closet's on Grail. The YNs told me or whatever. I
mean, that's a tough one to like form opinions on. It's like, oh, the shit that I worked on 10 years ago is fucking popping.
I tried to bring that up, and I think he kind of maybe I didn't word it right.
He's a super sweet, humble guy.
Yeah,
Granny, but he wants to watch his stories.
Yeah, but
maybe he's not aware.
No, he's definitely aware, bro.
I don't know. I'd rather someone like kind of like feign ignorance and remain humble about it and be like, yeah, that shit's fucking popping.
Yeah, we fucking started it and y'all are late as hell. Yeah, I guess he's not that guy. I never would be. But I just think it's cool, whether it's the dunce cap or like the fucking graphic. I only ever owned a Ben Trill Hood by Air collab tee. That was my extent. It was speaking of, you said Haven earlier, Nomad, which I guess doesn't exist anymore. Maybe it does, but that was the Toronto. That was like at the collab, and that was like my cool as a fucking lame white guy at Complex.
You wore that a lot.
That was my fucking like cool guy, like going out long sleeve tee.
Was it camo?
No, it was black. It was black and white.
Was it the hockey jersey t-shirt?
Yes. Maple Leafs were on there. Those were cool, dude.
How many hashtags were on that bitch?
A lot.
A baker's dozen.
But that was like that. That was the graphic design language du jour at the time that they obviously pioneered. But
I had a Hood by Air tee, long sleeve t-shirt that Matthew Henson gave me that I loved, that had like a super glossy, just like super simple Hood by Air black like box logo almost on the white tee. And I wore it during Fashion Bros an episode, and I was like stuffing my face with Oreos and got a little chocolate stain on it.
No, dude.
I was so pissed.
Why were you eating Oreos?
Because it was like, we're models. And then it's like, fashion show.
Oh my God.
Whatever.
Dude. Yeah. Elite physical comedy from the goddamn motherfucker.
Remember when he snorted I snorted like a 2-foot line of vitamin B powder?
I think there were, and I was gonna,
you shotgun a Diet Coke.
Yeah. Disgusting, dude. I think it just went everywhere. I don't even think it's just too carbonated to do.
Yeah.
You can't, I mean, you can shotgun a soda if you're a real guzzler, but
pause. Okay. I had a funny Hilbert story where like the context is maybe it's going to be a little corny, but it's like, yo, like they were kind of one of the first brands to do like, it was popularized by Kanye and Ben Trill, but like just printing graphic tees as like you have an idea, you get it printed, it's out there.
Yep.
Right. This is kind of like low key, not revolutionary, but like brand new that now everyone fucking does it. And there's a glut of it. And I'm not saying it's necessarily a good thing, but like I remember that, you know, I even caught the bug where I was doing like a flip on I feel like Pablo Kanye merch where I made a t-shirt that just said in the same font as I feel like shit.
I had one of those things on my Instagram. Yeah.
And I went to, I think like John Caramonico every so often be like, yo, you saw those I feel like shit tees? Like I would love one. I'm like, no.
Your collecting might be a problem if you're trying to uncover an OG I feel like shit James Harris original, bro.
But I went to the print shop like somewhere in Chinatown. I forget how I got like the rec, and it's just like this one woman operation, and I like look over, and there's just like Hood by Air tees like right there.
That's how the sausage
and I'm like, do you do the Hood by Air? She's like, yeah, I print the Hood by Air graphics. I'm like, what? Like,
yeah, these will be on sale tomorrow.
Yeah, for like $500.
Yeah.
And great blanks.
Sure,
great printing. Done
what blanks did you use on I feel like shit tees?
I think just Gildan.
Okay.
They were definitely using some heavier shit. Damn, I fucking gave one away to of the two that I have, I gave the one that I talked about that I ruined with chocolate on fashion was I definitely gave to a girl that I liked / dated for a little bit.
Here, take my fucking stained garbage, bitch.
No, I dry cleaned that hoe and gave it.
And you wish you still had that stuff just for posterity, like, you know, reasons?
I mean, because it's like history. Maybe as I grow older, I'm like, yeah, you know, I want like every sample of stuff that we've worked on.
Sure. That's
like
personal.
I have so many samples of like the Clark's TF shoes that we did that like weren't quite it.
Oh yeah.
I have so many samples of like not so many. I have like 4 samples of like the TF Adidas Friends.
I have all those still. Yeah.
And like this, it's like, yo, how often am I going to wear the shirt? Very infrequently.
If the Hood by Air shirt fit, would you pop out in that?
No, because it would look fucking ridiculous for a 38-year-old half white man to be wearing that in the context that I'd be wearing it.
Yeah, I guess like we don't need any more help to make us look ridiculous sometimes. You know, it is what it is. And I guess that would be maybe a bridge too far. But yeah, I wonder what you could resell, like one of those tees for now without tags or anything, and maybe not brand new. But I wonder if you could still get some like, you know, opium kid in middle school to pay you like $500 of his parents' money. That'd be fucking sick, dude.
Maybe. I mean, there's
send it to a fucking full white kid to wear in like fucking Cleveland or some shit.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. I don't know if I'm going to find this tee on Hood by Air. Oh, I had this one. Yeah. I think it was $200 ungrilled. So, you know, there's a market.
You know,
there's a market.
Those, you know, it's funny. All those graphics are so iconic and recognizable. Like, you know, you can like close your eyes. I mean, most listeners probably, if you're of a certain age, you can close your eyes and like picture they were like iconic designs.
Yo, you know what? Okay, last thought, and then I got to run and get my haircut alert.
Trim or cut?
Trim. You know what you should get instead of like an old Hood by Air graphic tee is the fucking pre-rapping career Tekashi 6ix9ine Pussy Buddy or HIV AIDS
69. Oh my god, dude! What a
HIV
legend.
AIDS, because that was
what
in
a
like
villain.
That was in like the Hood by Air design language.
He was parodying that just like you were parodying the Pablo merch with the I feel like shit line.
I don't know if he was parodying it or just trying to like troll in like the design language du jour.
I don't know if he was like selling those because who else in the right mind wear a shirt that was like 69 pussy AIDS, but he was definitely adopting the design language for his own nefarious trolling purposes, and it got him on Fashion Bros.
It got him on Fashion Bros. It got him a fucking career. Sticky with the Blicky Do outro music, I guess. All right, this is another episode of The Afters.
We're gonna use fucking 6ix9ine as the music.
Yo, honestly,
what about
some of the songs kind of fucking go.
What about Ian Isaiah calls himself Big Sugar, right?
Well, that's his persona, yeah.
So what about like Sugar We're Going Down by Fall Out Boy? That's a little more family friendly than 6ix9ine.
Put on some Ian Isaiah. Put on Ian Isaiah.
Oh,
big
duh.
One, obviously.
Big one.
It's only a minute 57. All right.
This has been a mid one.
Chef, take us out.
Later.